Greetings and welcome, everyone. Welcome to DevChatter. Hi. Hopefully you're having a pretty good start to your week. My name is Brendan. Hang on while I adjust my camera a little bit. For some reason it was tilted. Greetings, welcome everyone. Glad to see you're all here. Hey, Plutonin, Coated Beard, S&B, Brave Cobra, and anyone else who is lurking in the chat. Remember, there is never a need to talk, and if you are someone watching a recording of this, hello, future person. Hopefully you're having a pretty good day. So for us here live, it is a Thursday. As you know, these are our earlier starting streams, so we are going to go ahead and jump into things. But first, I want to mention a couple of things. First off, this here channel is DevChatter. If you are new, welcome. You are able to participate in a lot of ways. You can just watch if you like. You can chat with us. You can find our code over on GitHub if you want to take a look at any of that. It's over there at github.com/devchatter. And if you want to send us a pull request, we are open to that. So, you know, feel free to look at any of our code and make suggestions or contributions if you like. If you want to chat with me or any of the other people who watch DevChatter, one of the best places to do that is to go over to our Discord. We have a number of interesting channels for talking about different things, various ones dedicated to pieces of technology like a language or something like that, so the conversation can be focused. So if you aren't a C# developer, for example, you could hang out in one of the other rooms. You don't have to be involved in all the C# discussions. We also have our rant channels, probably the most popular one, where people just talk about the frustrating stuff that they're running into at work. Usually like, oh, I had to work with this tech, or things like dealing with a business, we'll say, is a funny way of describing that. Anyway, you are welcome to join us there, hang out, and chat with us anytime you like. So, some people might have noticed, if you were here on our last episode, we were planning on doing a Learn to Code episode today and having Mr. Bubs up in the corner, but that's not going to happen today. He had a scheduling conflict that came up, and actually, I guess I can tell you guys, he's interviewing for a job right now, so, so no, we didn't have time to do a stream. So, anyway, we will be scheduling that for next week, and link in the chat for anyone who's interested in finding out more about our Learn to Code in C# series. We will, as I said, we'll continue it again next week. I'm not sure which day. We might not do it Thursday. I might try to see if I can get him to do Tuesday, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, so let's jump into our project. For those of you who have been here before, you know basically the main thing that we've been working on. No S&B, he's not interviewing for a dev job. How to phrase it? So Bubs is a, I guess what he's done in most of his career is being a recruiter. So he just interviews people a lot, which kind of lends itself to his being pretty good at speaking to groups of people and others pretty well. I have also done a lot of interviewing. I obviously do it from like the developer that's in the room, and he's the non-developer that's in the room. So I've worked with a lot of people that are not Bubs in that role, but do that kind of work. Anyway, hopefully he gets the job, because it is an interesting one, and I don't want to talk about the details of where he is interviewing. Greetings, Greendolf. Welcome. Ooh, Greendolf. Yeah, I forgot you have the full-on like dino outside of the egg on your subscriber badge there. Okay, so for anyone who is here frequently, you know that one of the projects we have been working on, and I'm actually not going to do a full game, but I'm going to show you. We can start up this here game, and you'll notice it appeared both on the screen and in that little browser window there, and that we can play through the chat. So you'll notice it loaded up two different versions. Don't worry about that, because the one in the browser isn't really supposed to be there long term. That's more of just our testing bed. The real location's right there in our browser. And that is the game that we should actually be playing. Obviously, if we were writing this for a production environment, I would set it up so that it didn't create two and actually tracked all the different clients that have connected to the hub. But since we're only running one channel, I wasn't going to worry about that. That's a lot of complexity that we don't need. If we decide to build this as a standalone application that allows anybody to play this game just using our hosted version, we'll tackle it then. because then that will become a very important feature. So we will get to it at that point. I do believe with all programming that you really do need to try to follow Yagni to a point. Obviously, developers have a lot of experience, so we can often guess which things we're eventually going to need, but as a rule, you want to try to follow Yagni. There are some times where you're like, we know this step is coming. But that one, I might run this bot as like only connecting to my channel ever, so for now that's definitely a Yagni. We don't know that that's ever coming up. If you don't know what Yagni is, it's you aren't going to need it, or some people say you ain't going to need it. And it's just the idea that you shouldn't build something before you actually need it, because there's a chance you don't, and then you just wasted effort or added complexity. Okay, so this is the game that we're making. I want to do a few things related to this today on the stream. We're not actually going to, well, maybe we'll work on the game. I don't know. I want to work on some stuff that's that's sort of correlated with it and related to it. So here's what I want to do. Let me go ahead and close that. I guess you guys can play the game that's up on the screen right now if you like. It's up to you. Or we can just leave it sitting there, or if it sits there for a while, I'll kill it at some point. We don't have a built-in way for it to disappear just yet, but we will get to that. Hey, Smartasky. Smartasky wants to know how to play, so I will show you how to play the game. And I will show you in the best way by putting it over here so you guys can see me type into chat. So first off, Smartasky, if you want to play the game, I recommend that you go over into our game room. Otherwise, one of my moderators will probably yell at you for spamming the chat a whole bunch. So head over into the game room, where the commands are also accepted by the bot, so you can just jump over there to do that. And then, once you are in the game room, you can go ahead and do commands like what it says here. So that little character on the screen, if we want to move him over to grab that sword, we might just type move right, 4, right? And he grabs the sword. Now, something you might have noticed is he got attacked when he grabbed the sword. So I can kill that guy. I can move down. And then I can move right a few more times. Move up and move right. Oops. Helps if you do it the correct number of times. So that's how the game works. What you guys don't realize is when I'm looking at that screen, I'm actually just seeing this tiny little preview on my screen. So what you actually see up there is much better. Like you're looking at a full screen. I guess I could look at the full screen and then it'd be a little clearer. So you can pick up items along the way, kill the zombies and things like that. You basically just move around the screen. So, yep, just like that. And obviously, you can queue up numbers, so your second argument to that command could be how many spaces you want to move right or up or something like that. And then that lets you just move around on that map, and that zombie is going to start chasing us here. So, and the thing that's really going to throw you off is that since everybody can control it all at once, it becomes almost like a Twitch Plays Pokemon style of thing where, like, a command can really get dangerous. Now, one option that I have considered here is making it so that messages sent into the game room are treated as if they're commands, even without the exclamation point at the beginning. We haven't done that yet. So things like just saying right, left inside of the game room, chat room, could work that way. Part of the reason I haven't done that yet is because Twitch is talking about potentially getting rid of these rooms that I'm using, which would be really kind of disappointing, actually. Oh, yes. Yeah, we did not style this as a mud. Sorry about that, ASCII. We could do north, south, east, west. I could enable north, south, east, west. That's easy. Actually, I'll go do that now. Because why not? So first off, that's west, east, north, and south. And let's go down to the game. And that is going to be in the components. So Essentially, anything that moves around on our screen or is displayed in that game, we call an entity. And that's very generic, but entities, they contain what we call components. And components come in different types. So we have attackable components, attacking components, and these define whether you can attack and whether you can be attacked by something else. The autonomous components get called to take their turn. Movable components are able to move around on the screen, so that's what these movable ones are. You didn't even know that the rooms exist. Yeah, I know. So Twitch might actually be getting rid of the rooms, and I think part of the reason why they're going to get rid of them is because people didn't even know they existed and didn't use them. So I don't know. I thought they're useful for these types of things, like games and other information that you don't want spamming the regular chat. Wow, someone is moving us a bunch over there. Thanks, ASCII and Brave Cobra. You guys are going to get us killed. Alright, I guess that's me that's getting killed, isn't it? That player's me. Okay, so movable component. I need to adjust how we do this. So left is west, up is north, down is south, and right is east. There we go. So that's west, east, north, south. I'm not accepting the full word right now, but we will let those work. That'll take a refresh before you get that. So those commands will work eventually. Don't try to use them yet. Okay. So I want to work on the shop command right now. So give me 1 second to do this. New branch, branch off the rogue branch. Call this Benric rogue. Hang on, it's gonna be rogue something. What do we want to call this? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got it precisely, Smart ASCII. The problem is switching rooms completely, not being able to see the stuff in the other ones is the problem. That's why I just use it for the game, because it's pretty easy for someone to just go play the game in there. So if you want to go give commands in the game, sure, hop in a room. Why not? How far? We need to just go straight to the right to get the exit. We're going to get attacked by that guy, but not any of the others right now. I think we can escape that. Yeah, they don't ban me, ASCII. They don't ban me. Oh, I'm so getting killed. Hang on. We're gonna get out of this, guys. Oh, I think we die. I don't think we can make it. Alright, let's just get the character killed. There we go, he's dead. Yeah, Smart ASCII's pretty awesome. I like Smart ASCII too. What are we doing here? We are, we'll call this game improvements. because this is just general game improvements. We'll call this gameplay improvements. That's a good way to describe it. So, allow north, south, east, west directions for movement. So we'll commit those. Greendolf, this is Signaler. Can I make a third-party client for your game? Greendolf, yeah, you technically could probably. So what I'm planning on doing, so this is all communicating down to it with Signaler, but really there's another location. The keyboard shortcuts would work, Brave Cobra, in the browser. That's where we end up using them, but I'm not there. Electron, we're not using Electron. So if you want to make a client that can run this game, clearly everything is written in JavaScript, but what I would like to do is I want to make a Twitch extension so that we get movement controls on the screen, so that people can move the guy with just clicking on some arrows on top of the screen. So the idea would be something like this. So if this is our screen right here, you'll notice that they sometimes put... Do I have any? I don't have any turned on. I don't have any extensions turned on, guys. Sorry. But sometimes you can put extensions over the screen, and sorry about the crazy, like, going forever effect there. But we can overlay something on top of that. So you can... I don't know how to describe it. So you can just click around with arrow keys. Greendolf, I'm not sure about that. So I've been tempted to restrict it so only the person who is playing can actually play, at which point I would want them to not have any restrictions on being able to send those commands. Even potentially making it so they whisper the bot their movement and it moves them around on the screen might be an option as well, especially if we lose rooms. That could be the way that we could keep the chatter down there. We want our chatter to be DevChatter, not game chatter. Okay, so here's what I wanted to do. I opened up the shop command because I want to add something else to it. We currently have the ability to buy items from the shop. I want to allow us to sell items to the shop as well. So if you want to sell your items, you can, and that can be a way of making money while you're playing the game. Money. In-game money. Sell, shop, item, operation, game repository. What do I think about Blazor? Plutonin, I think it is a really cool idea, and I do want to try it. I want to use it for a bunch of stuff. We'll see how it ends up turning out in the long run. I am not planning... I don't currently have plans to use Blazor a bunch on our stream, mainly because I have done lots of bleeding edge stuff in the past, and one of the things you always run into is you get a lot of great stuff, and then they change it a lot, so you need to be down for refactoring and a whole bunch of things go. If you want to take early investment in that for one of your projects, that's one thing, but I don't think people are going to be as interested in watching episodes where I end up having to upgrade to the latest version of their change set all the time. So that's part of the challenge with being on the bleeding edge stuff. So equals new list of string. Otherwise, I would love to be using Blazor on here, to be honest. I think it would be great. Exactly, and see, Greendolf's hitting on the big point, which is that WebAssembly in general is super exciting because of the neat things you can do with it. So I'm looking forward to the point where I can basically just write some C# code and it just runs on a browser, period. And the idea that it's Blazor versus something else, I don't want to care about that so much, except where it comes to interacting with the DOM. So obviously, once we can get to that point, I will be thrilled. Right now, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, maybe Blazor's come along far enough, there's some intricacy, and you do have to learn how to use Blazor. Okay, so sell shop items. What do I want to do when we sell shop items? Well, first off, hang on, I need to make a constructor that takes in an iGame repository. Let's just call this repository. I think that's clear what it is. When this gets called, I want to return, you can't sell items yet. Sorry. There we go. Okay. Let's move that to its own file. Let's check out the shop command. The shop command has a sell shop item piece, and I think that will work. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and give this a try. I think WebAssembly is very exciting because it already has support for Affinity and pretty good support too. Restarting the bot, hang on 1 second. Derp. Hang on. I didn't give it time to actually close. So the problem is I have an unknown amount of time before the bot fully shuts itself down when I try to kill it, because it does have a background process, and until that background process is done and closed, I can't start it up again. So that's one of the annoying things with the type of background process that we're using here in our ASP.NET project. ASP.NET Core project, I should say. Okay, so the bot has restarted and is back in here, and I can say, oh, do I have a way of seeing my own inventory? Did I create that yet? Inventory, yes I do. Is that list for everybody, or does it whisper it to me? Looks like it whispers it to me, I think. Yep, there it is. You have these items, none. Alright, hang on. Shop by 3, shop by 3, shop by 2, shop by 1. Okay, so I can buy a bunch of items. Now if I do that inventory command, inventory, you'll see that I get a better response now. It says you have these items, a full sword, an axe, and a bat. And that's durability. I should maybe say like D3 or something like that, or maybe uses, but some word better than that. Anybody have a good alternative for Hangfire? Brave Cobra. Greendolf is not wrong. Async await, threading, stuff like that. You can write a lot of it your own. For some things that Hangfire would be doing, you can do your own messaging system and stuff like that. It depends on which aspect of Hangfire you're trying to replace. Okay, so yeah, we have a sell command. So now when I do shop sell, you can't sell items yet, sorry. Okay, so let's think about how we want to sell items. So I can have more than one axe and more than one sword. So what do I do if I have more than one item at any given time? We're trying to do this through a chat interface. So here's my thinking. Just off the top of my head, a couple of ideas for how we could potentially do this. Whoops. Let's go back to the main chat. Oh, my inventory doesn't display there. Whoops. Let's open up a Whisper with the... So here's what it listed. It said sword, sword, and how do I tell it which sword I want to get? So the couple of ways I'm thinking about for this, and let me just open this up. So when it gives us back this information, it could say, like, you know, sword, and then B, sword, and then C, and you sell by letter, for example. So this becomes a unique identifier, and you might be saying, well, hang on, then you'd be limited to only having 26 items in your inventory. To which I would say I was going to put that limit lower than 26, so I'm not worried about it. I was going to set the limit to be like, you know, 5 items. One other option is when we list our inventory, instead of saying, you know, sword 3, right? And then, you know, X2 and bat 1, right? Where these might be the items in my inventory. I could instead write it like this, and just have it be known that you go in with 2 size 3 swords or something like that, but I don't really like that. Because it's hard to say. You might want to sell the more expensive sword, you might want to sell the cheaper sword. The arbitrary 5, of course, yeah. So the reason why I was going with 5 is because I don't want to have a lot of items, because we need to display them on the screen to you while you're playing. So we do need to limit how many items you can have at any given time. Now, we could limit just how many you take with you on the adventure. I'm not sure on that one. Alternately, you know, instead of letters, these could be numbered, right? You know, that could be number 1, number 2, and number 3, and you just sell them based on their ordering. And that would also work. Ooh, that's a great idea. That's not a great idea, Greendolf. Thanks. Great suggestions there from the chat. Yes, I liked the bit mask as a way to get rid of. I like the bit mask. That's a cool concept, but I think that would confuse the non-devs that wanted to play this game. So we can sell one of these items. I bit shifted my sword and it fell out of the inventory. Alright, so I'm just gonna do the letters for now, I think. It's not ideal. have these items: sword, sword, axe, and bat. Okay, first argument is the word sell. Second argument is the item. Argument would be sell item name. So if it's less than 2, return please specify the item you wish to buy. Sell. Sell. Using its inventory letter. Alright, let's try that. Let's see if I need that restart or not. Ooh, I didn't. Excellent. Well, maybe didn't. We'll see in a second. Shop, sell. There we go. And then it says you can't sell items. Okay, so that works. Alright, what do we want to do with this? So we want to say confirm. So this is going to be check that argument is a letter. Check that inventory contains the specified letter. It's gold coins that you pick up in the game. Sell the item. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. We are jumping over into our unit tests, and we are going to take a look at doing this. So operations, this is the sell shop item. You know what? I'm actually just going to do it as that. Same way we did the other one. Alt insert, class, sell shop item, operation should. There we go. Do something given something. Perfect test name every single time. All tests should be written that way. I do actually think all tests should be kind of clear. Yeah, the coins are blockchained, of course. Basically, Brave Cobra, these are in-app purchases. That is correct. So we want to do new sell shop shop operation. So this one. For this, we want to make a new mock iGame repository object. There's the operation we're testing. This is the mock. There's our repo. Then I want to say operation.try to execute. I need to pass in a set of event args and the survivor. Okay, so now let's get this up to the top because this is part of our test setup. So we'll call that the event args. This is the survivor. There we go. There's what we do, and then we need to assert on this. So result should be something. Let me check out the chat over here. People playing rock, paper, scissors. Yes, Plutonin, pay to win, Kappa. You can't actually use real money to buy the coins, so the pay to win part isn't really there. Can you buy coins with your tokens? Brave Cobra, yeah, so I'm going to figure out some way to be able to do that. To be able to translate the in-chat viewership currency into the game currency. I don't know how that's going to work just yet. I'm still debating whether or not I want to keep this game inside the chatbot or whether I want to move this into its own piece. We'll see. So let's do should. So result.should be something. What do we want this to be? This needs to be pulled out into an accessible string of some kind, so I'm going to make this a field. We'll make it a constant. Oh, that name! Look at that! Oh, that name is beautiful, everyone. I need to put this in the chat. You need to understand that. Look at that. Oh, man, please spell it. Oh, that constant name is beautiful. Beautiful. Look at that. That is terrible. Hey, DevChatter wins. He chose scissors. With a stock market, of course. Yes, Brave Cobra. SNB, what am I supposed to fix? What am I supposed to fix? I don't know. Something broken? We'll call this, not that, missing parameter message. Missing parameter message. Maybe we'll move that somewhere else at some point. For now, we're going to public that. Public. Should be sell shop item operation. There we go. Let's run the tests. See what happens. The game is rigged. Too short? Yeah, Brave Cobra. That message was too short. The game's rigged. Hang on. S&B, hang on. I've got a quote for that. This is the evidence that game is not rigged. I swear it's not rigged. See, back in March, I said it wasn't rigged. So it's on record. That game's not rigged. All right. That is about the dumbest first test right there. I should give that a better name, actually. Should... ask for additional arguments given no item should ask for additional arguments given too few arguments. Okay, it's longer than I like, but I think it gets the point across. Is it a list or an iList? That's an iList. Isn't it? I think it's an iList. There we go. Arguments, new list says cell in it. Alright, this next test needs to be a little bit different. See, he seems legit, yeah. Words and reality are not always in sync. Yeah, that's true, Brave Cobra. That does mean it wasn't rigged back in March. So, lucky for you, all the source code for this bot is out on GitHub, and you can find that at github.com/devchatter. So if you think that anything in there is rigged, feel free to take a look at the code and tell me how it's rigged. You're like, it's missing the line of code that says, if Brave Cobra chose paper, you choose rock. Okay. So it asks for that if we did that. So the next check would be actually, did I say missing parameter? Please specify the item. Let's call this actually, it's not parameter. Derp. Bad. Say bad argument message. So the next check will be that it wasn't a letter. You tried to sell an invalid thing. Ask for argument given too few arguments. So in this one, ask for argument given invalid argument. So in this one, we'll have the correct number by having this second one, and it will be a number, say the number 1. Oh, there you go, Brave Cobra, yeah. Yeah. Just because it's open source doesn't mean it's not rigged, but that does mean you can look for it to be rigged, Greendolf. Alright, so we're going to try and sell number 1, which doesn't work, so you're going to get the bad argument message. This should fail. You should get red for this. This test should not pass yet. There we go. Test fails, right there. Let's take a look at this command. So, oh, my comment didn't run. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We want to say event arguments dot arguments elements at or default 1. Let's call this item to sell. If item to sell equals null, then return that. Yeah, see? What is it? It chose scissors. Yeah, see? There you go. Greendolf wins. Game's clearly rigged. I think what you meant to say was this. Hang on. There you go, Greendolf. GG. GG. Gotta be friendly here. Wait, did that test not pass? Did I run the test? Hang on. I'm not sure if I ran that test. Did that test fail? Oh man, the test failed. Bummer. Oh, right. Yeah, no, I didn't actually write that. Hang on. Derpy derp, derpy derpy derp. Herp and derp. Item to sell. And item to sell. Oh, whoops. If it's null, or if its length does not equal 1, or single, so that'll get me the character. Car.is letter. So if any of those are the case, then it's invalid and we would say bad argument. Alright, let's try that. Wait, that was backwards. Wasn't it? The character's not a letter. There we go. Now it'll work. Run that one more time. Hangman game. Doesn't look like it's going well. What is that word? I am not sure what that word is, everybody. I think I know the word. Hang on. Yep, there we go. S&B got it. It was grapes. There you go. Sorry, Brave Cobra, S&B typed faster. Does that count as a real word this time? Or are you guys going to complain that that's not a real word again? Alright, so a couple of things I'm noticing. We've got a lot of duplication. I kind of feel like we should pull some of this out. This feels the same in both of these. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this as a method. That method is going to be called foo right now. And boy, did it mess up. It's like, ooh, you want output parameters? I can give you output parameters. Sweet, thanks. How did you know? We want one of these, one of those, and one of these. Var. Then we need to send back operation, event args, and survivor. 1 second, everybody. Nope, I'm back. I did a quick be right back. You didn't hear me say be right back? I thought I said be right back. Hope the stream's not actually, you know, dead. That'd suck. Foo, and then it needs to return back these. And these come back with the names. Let's say that's operation, that's event args, and that's survivor. There we go. Set up test. So there's our quick little setup test. Oh, no, Green Dove, I put up the be right back screen. I figured you guys would not care to watch me blow my nose. We're getting into winter, so my sinuses are getting a little annoying. Alright, so now the only thing this one's doing differently is the fact that this value is getting set. So that tells me that we need to pass in our arguments to this. So yeah, let's do that. That's a parameter. That's going to be called arguments. Params string array arguments, because I like it that way. There we go. So now this can be cell1 as the... There we go. Hey, Twitchloff, welcome, greetings. The other day I needed to make a function without arguments, params arguments, and a default argument. That is awesome, Green Dolph. You had to do all of those. That'd be messy. That'd be messy. I generally only do these for like this type of scenario where I do these because it's like, oh, I need to do a quick setup of a few things. I don't want to do it as 3 methods, like because they're pretty related. I could separate it, but this doesn't feel that bad. Yeah, did it return a tuple as well? I hope so. I hope so. Okay, so that gets me my basic stuff there, and these tests are passing, which is good. I want to try this. Do those tests still pass without that code? Fantastic. It should have been unnecessary now. Because we're basically saying if you didn't have that argument, if you didn't have 2 arguments, clearly we're going to fail. Now this does make an assumption here, and that is the fact that I have assumed that if you have a second item in your collection, you had a first item, which is not technically required in C#. You can get away without doing that. In fact, because the first argument, for example, well, I guess in this case, the first argument has to be null. And you have a second index thing. Did we require? What is it? What did we? Is it a list or an iList? Hang on. Does an iList require? Then it's actually. I think it does. So I think we're safe. Yeah, we should be safe there, because we didn't do an IEnumerable or anything. We just said then. But actually, then no. Yeah, we're okay. We're okay. Yeah, there's no problem there. We are safe. And have a random side effect. Yes, methods with side effects are the best. Okay, next thing's next. So we checked that it was a letter. Single letter item is what we wanted. I guess I could do that with a regex, but I'm not going to, because that was enough of a check right there. Check that the inventory contains an item at the specified letter. Okay. Int item index. Item to sell. Single. Actually, I'm just gonna say first. No, we totally confirmed. It is 1 letter. What is this? Minus, oh, let's, to upper, minus A. Hey, Crimson Green! Where Brendan dupes us all into thinking he knows what he is doing. Oh, I thought I was doing the dupe glitch from Diablo 1, where I drop a book on the ground and I pick up a potion out of my belt at the same time I pick up the book. I thought that's what I was doing. Is that not what I'm doing? I thought that's what I was doing. Alright, so Here's our item index. So let's do this. Ask for argument given out of range argument. So out of range argument. So let's pass in n, right? We said we were going to restrict to like 10 items. If item index is somehow less than 0, or item index is greater than 10. What do we say? No, greater than 9, right? Because it'd be 0, so greater than 9. So, wait, we said 5 items? Greater than 4. If we're actually restricting to 5 items. See, it's all about sharing. The code just doesn't want to be selfish. Yeah, exactly. Can I sell and keep the item at the same time? Crimson, yeah, that's why you duplicated it. So you duped it and then you sold one of the copies. Okay, so good. I didn't write the code that actually did anything, but we didn't bomb out or anything, so that means I didn't do anything totally stupid there. This needs to be a different message, so this is going to be... out of range message. What is this? Give error. I don't know. Display error. Show error. Give an out of range argument. There is no corresponding item. Which item? Which item did you want to sell? Alright, so that's out of range message, so if you specify n, we want to do that. This test should still fail because I didn't actually wire up that message. That's what we're expecting. Good, it fails. So, can't sell items yet, which is fine. So now that we've got that, we want to say return out of range. So now we're going to need to grab the inventory, check it, and make sure that there's actually one for that. First thing we need to do, though, is make sure this test passes. And it does. Show error given valid selection given no items. So we're going to sell a valid item. So we're going to sell A, but this guy does not have any items, as you can tell from the survivor. No items. Should be red. Good. If that had turned green, what that would mean is that we messed up the logic of our less than and greater than, or our subtraction of the letter A from our character. Which do you want to sell? So it says we can't sell items yet, which is wrong. Well, I guess that's right. I mean, we can't sell items yet. We didn't write that. The code that sells them is going to go right here. So we really can't yet. But we were supposed to say the out of range message again. So let's check our inventory. Survivor, inventory items. Element at or default item index. This is actually item. We'll call that the item key. There's the index. We'll get the item at the index. Hey, Will. Welcome to the room. Greetings. Which I'm thinking that logic's actually going to go in the survivor. So, Greendorf, that's standard link. Standard link. Essentially, the idea is it will not bomb if that key doesn't exist. Welcome everyone. Glad to have you all here. Nice, nice seeing people say hi when they show up. So, have a good lurk, Will. Survivor dot. Yeah, so that does buy item. Let's make sell item. Public bool. Sell item. Ooh, that's a good question. What do we want to pass in here? The inventory index that was specified that we're supposed to sell the inventory item from? Lurker is not available. Oh, hey, greetings. Welcome, Lurker. Glad you were available to say hi. Appreciate it. Alright. Just teasing, by the way. Yes, Brave Cobra. This is when we add in the stock market. So all you do is you go up here and you say using python.nasdaq, right? And then that just gets you all your stuff. Speaking of Code Rushed, I actually need to get back to I need to get back to Mark about hopping on his stream. We need to find a time when both he and I can get together and actually do one of those. I was not able to yesterday. I think that's the date he was hoping that I could get on there. So we'll see. I wanted to help him out with some SignalR stuff. So let's go ahead and add a unit test for this, kind of like we did the buy item should. Over here. In the survivor tests, class sell item should. Public void do something, given something. There we go. What's your take on var versus type? Not for Benny. My short answer is, if it's obvious on the line what the type is because it's already specified on the line or because it really is obvious, I use var. Otherwise, I like to use the type so that I never have to mouse over it. I like to just be able to be like, yeah, that's the type, I just know it, I continue on. So that tends to work out pretty well for me. I will make a couple of exceptions to that. I don't specify the type if my line is going to get really, really ugly because I specified the type. So if I have some weird complex type, let's say that I was doing something with link where I was doing a group by or something like that, and so it has a really big type that gets specified as a result, I will use var for that, because the only reason that I saved that as a variable temporarily at all was usually just to break up something more complex that was going on into the parts. And I don't really care what that type is at that moment. It's less important. But generally I like to see the type, so that, because a lot of people are like, well, yeah, but you could just mouse over to see that. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I mean, then I have to, bring my cursor over and mouse over to see, like, well, what was the type? Okay. Which, yeah, I can do, but I like to just at a glance see them. So, that's my stance on it. I'm good with var, I'm good with type, either way. Had trouble finding a bug with crashes. Oh, okay, cool, Will. Now singing in code. Singing! Yeah, why not sing in the code? Sometimes I don't have the type of an expression will be without... Okay, that's true, Greendolf. I sometimes put in the var, and then I have... I tell it to switch it to the explicit type, and it'll do that for me. So I do that sometimes too, Greendolf. Yeah, but I don't leave it. But I get that you leave it. Kappa. Yes, I'm probably using... have I seen Stack Blitz? Will, I don't know what Stack Blitz is, but I would love to know what you're talking about, because Stack Blitz sounds like a cool name. Good name to variable to tell what it is, though. Yeah, so, not for Benny, so sometimes you get this, so it'd be like, you might say, like, var person equals, foo.getPerson, right? Now, the problem is, what's var? Is var maybe, var could be person DTO, it could be person, it could be a string, it could be the person's name, something along those lines. So, in a lot of systems, you end up with these kinds of types, and if that kind of question could ever happen, then I like to have the type specified. If in your system there really is only ever going to be person, it's person, cool, put in the var. Go for it. So that's the idea. I just like it to be clear. I like to know what it is. We have something called file movinator. Nice. That's why I explicitly type language. Type inference isn't a point of argument using F#. It's just used. Oh, Stack Blitz has been... Oh, I will have to check that out, Will. That actually sounds really cool. Stack Blitz, you say? Hang on. Stack Blitz. This? What is this? The online IDE for web applications powered by Visual Studio Code. Weird. Who? Did someone third-party make this? Yeah, copyright Stack Blitz. Huh. I may have to check that out. That sounds really neat. Cool. I'll take a look some point. That's really neat. VS Code in a browser is not necessarily a bad thing. That means you can use it on a computer that doesn't have VS Code installed on it without having to install it. Oh yeah, I was gonna do this. I'll take a look at it later. Will. Yeah, it does make sense, Brave Cobra. It does make sense. Okay, so sell item should let's see, new survivor. That's our survivor. And then we're gonna say survivor.sell item, and we want to sell item 0. That is going to be result. should be false. Should return false, given no items. So you have no items, it should just return false. There we go. We will go ahead and do that. People use it on iPads. That is actually, yeah, so that is actually a really good reason there, Will. Your iPad is like 15 years old. Greendolf, I think that's older than iPads. I don't think they had iPads in 2003. Did they? I don't remember when iPads came out. Will's Amazon tab is broken too. Alright, so this test fails, and the reason it fails is, I'm sure, the right one. But I don't know that for certain. So I'm just going to do this. Return false. True, yes. That statement about person.getPersonDTO, and you actually put in the most important requirement, and that is if you own that code too. If you don't own that code, then you have to do this. That's why I said I use var if it's obvious, and you could make it obvious by doing that sort of thing. What you'll find in a lot of my code is I will usually say things like that. What's a good example? Here we go. So I have held item from inventory item, for example. So you know you're creating one of these from one of those. You know what the types are, and to inventory item, held item to inventory item. So those types of things do have pretty clear names, and you get what the types are. Excuse me. So there we go. Survivor, sell item 0, result should be false. Good. That's stupid simple test right there. Now for the next test. We want to return true, because this is the best one to do here. Given selling only item. So he'll have one item, he'll sell one item. Inventory items, new, editable, what? Just give me a list. What do you mean, editable list? Just give me the list. There we go. Does it matter what the item is? I don't think it does. I swear it's not rigged. Code is packed with things like get person list, then return, say, an array of that. Oh man, yeah. See, that's the problem. Is when you run into the code where it says get person list, and this is what I talk about with the complexity. Is you easily could have said get person ID list, for example. And then everybody would know, oh, that's getting me back the IDs of the people. Okay, got it. You know, it's getting me a list of IDs on person objects. Cool. All right, so we're going to sell item 0, and then we want this to be true. There we go. Well, let's go ahead and run this. This is, does that return an array? Oh yeah, Will, that could return an array. But I would actually be okay with that, I think. The difference between an array and a list is not all that big. I mean, yeah, there are differences, but I wouldn't call that all that terrible. To be honest, I would be okay with that returning an iList, for example. An iList would be a pretty good one. It could return either one, and I would call that a list. Yeah, I agree, S&B. That is a case where the method name needed to get fixed a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and make selling the item possible. So if inventory items not let's grab that as a variable, so that's the item. If item equals null, return false. Otherwise, return true for now. This is not perfect yet. Clearly, this is not a state where the code is done. I tested the wrong thing, but we will fix that in a moment. Okay, so that test is working. So we can sell the item now, sort of. Should remove the item from their inventory. Test. Should remove item, given selling only item. Yep, okay. So this one, instead of checking the result, we're not going to care about the result this time. We are going to say survivor.inventory items should be empty. Flipzor, welcome. Thanks for following. Greatly appreciated. Welcome to the DevChatter crew. Glad you're enjoying the stream. And if anybody else is in here and enjoying the stream at all, please be sure to click that follow button to make sure you get notified when we go live. You're not familiar with Twitch. You just found your videos on YouTube the other day and watched a few of them. Gotta say, you're impressed with your persistence, with the quality of the content. Lurker, thank you very much. I really appreciate the compliment. Feel free to hang out here on Twitch, and you can watch the stream live. It's lots of fun. And for anybody that is in here and hasn't checked it out yet, you should also take a look at our Discord, as that is a really good place to chat with me and the other developers here on the stream. One of our most popular channels is probably the Rants channel, but there's a lot of other good places on there as well. Hey, Shockers, welcome. And hype, lots of hype in the chat. Actually, now that I think about it, I think I have the overlay running today, don't I? Yeah! There we go. See, I've got the overlay turned on, and Crimson's gonna make it worse by adding another hype. Okay, so we have an item in our inventory. We're going to sell that item. We expect that to be empty. That test is going to fail. There's a backlog on DevChatter ID badges. DevChatter ID badges? Will, what are you talking about, DevChatter ID badges? It almost does seem like the game of life with hype. We maybe could have implemented it that way. We didn't, but we could have. Okay, so remove item given selling only item. Sell item. So I need to go to survivor sell item, and then we need to say inventory items dot remove at index. That's a void. Okay. And I am not terribly worried about the... Oh, sorry. There's information about the music down below the stream if you want to take a look at that. I don't have a song command on there. There might be a music command? No. I should add one. Inspiro, you're learning JavaScript and you're loving the stream so far. Thank you. Really glad you appreciate it. And yes, that is one of the big things, is the problem-solving mindset is really what programming is all about. It really has a lot less to do with actually understanding any given programming language, though knowing the programming languages certainly does help. Okay, so we're going to remove the item, and then the next test we're going to make pass, hopefully. Let's go ahead and run these tests. Thank you, Crimson Green, for being the bot today there. And Inspiro, thank you very much for that follow. Greatly appreciated. All right, so that test's allowed to fail. I haven't fixed that one yet. I really should actually just comment out that test for a moment. It's this one. That's the test that we may or may not even do because we're shifting that logic into the survivor class instead. Let's see, increase money given selling item. Let's see, maybe after selling item. Best way to get a test to pass. I wasn't making the test pass, S&B. It's a test that's getting replaced by a different test. Man, the peanut gallery here getting all uptight about, oh, I deleted the test. Yeah, I did delete the test. You win. That's how I got rid of the test. Alright, here's what I'm wondering about. I'm trying to figure out where I want to put the sale prices on these. Maybe all items just sell for the same amount. I don't know. 25 items sell for 25, period, regardless of what the item is. Whoops, don't want that open. I want this one open. Come on, test. Let's go. We could do some percentage of the purchase price. What if you bought items with coins but sold items for bees? You put a whole survivor in a sell item. I put a survivor in a sell item. I don't know what you mean, Brave Cobra. You get a pass, and you get a pass, and you get a pass. I sell one of the survivor's items. We might change up the data on this. Eventually it might be sell it for an amount or something like that. Yeah, we in buy item, we took in an inventory item. In this case, we get an inventory item. Shop item. Does shop item have the prices? Yeah, shop item has a price. How do we... When we buy item, we take in the item. Oh, no. Yeah, Brave Cobra, that's just a reference to it. It's not actually... That's what you meant. Yeah, no, this doesn't even have to be here. This could just be not here. It doesn't matter. It's just the foreign key. It's just the foreign key relationship. When you pull an item, it doesn't get you that, but we kept a link to the other direction. So if you look on Survivor, Survivor also has a list of inventory items. We just kept it bidirectional. It doesn't need to be that way. So sell item. Yeah, I'm just gonna do it like that for now, and then we'll figure that out a little better later. We'll actually make the items have a specific value. So found 100. Oh, whoops. Alright, we'll set money equal to 100, and we're expecting it to be that. Whoops! Semicolon doesn't go there. That's a comma, Brendan. That's a comma. You know how C# works. Inventory item, survivor, sell item. Yeah, you technically could write it that way, but I don't think you ever would, Brave Cobra. I guess you could put sell item on the item itself and sell it that way, but that also feels weird. Okay, so we expected 125 and it was actually 100. So here's what we need to do. We need to say money plus equals 25, and then that needs to be the only change. That's true, Brave Cobra. That's true. I will nuke that and put that in a commit. There's one other thing I want to test here. Trying sell out of range. So we'll try to sell 5, and we'll have 1 item. And then the last test I want to have will be return true and selling one of many items. So let's do this. So we'll sell 3 items. We'll have 3 items. We will sell the last one. I should confirm that the correct item gets removed. Remove correct item when selling many items. So this one should be like this one, except that we don't want it to be empty. Should not contain. So this needs to be a predicate. So I'm going to say item dot name or I could say it doesn't contain that specific item. Let's do this. Place 1 occurrence, item to sell. So should not contain that. And let's confirm that it has the correct number of items. So should now have 2 items, and it should not contain the one that we sold. Remove last item, and I'm going to say when selling, and selling only item. Okay. Yeah, exactly. At this point, we are we're selling by index here, Brave Cobra, but we're deciding on those values elsewhere, which does mean the order of the items in this collection does matter, but I'm kind of okay with that, since that's sort of the structure we have anyway, and we might put in something to enforce an actual ordering on your items regardless, because we are eventually going to need to provide a text way for people to use things like potions, because we do want to have potions that you'll be able to use. So food you eat immediately, and items you pick up. Potions are items. Okay, so these all pass. So over here, in the sell item operation, I want to do this. So where's this? So what do we say? Show error. We said given no items. Yeah, that works actually. Set up task given. So try to execute. We tried to sell item A. There wasn't. This guy has no items, so that's fine. So we're gonna say survivor not sell item index. Maybe this will go into the other if. I hate that feature. So survivor, so if sell item return you sold item sold for 25. We call them coins. Item sold for 25 coins. You can't sell items yet. Let's do this one. Actually, now that I think about it, we may not even need that check then. Well, either way. Let's see. Whoa, I'd use an enum there instead of integer index. Oh, yes, I could do an enum there. Actually, Green Dolph, I like that ability. Yes. You could have inventory slots, left hand, right hand, backpack, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, S and B. We might do that. You don't have to tag me for every message. Have I mentioned that I love my chat sometimes? You guys are ridiculous. Ridiculous. Alright, show given no items on range. Given given item sold. So this needs an item. How do I get this an item? We need our survivor to actually have an inventory item. Inventory items. New inventory items. So that would give him an item, but I don't necessarily want to give him an item. I only want to give him an item if there is an item to give him. Let's do this. I'm gonna lose my params. But let me get rid of that? No. I really like the params. Yeah, I don't even serve. I drink the refresh. You know, you are all welcome to bring refreshments while you're here in the chat. I don't get the shop item parameter in the constructor of the inventory item yet. That's more of a convenience for switching from one to the other. I should probably do it as a static. Yes, Will, I'm actually sitting down. I still have my my knee messed up a little bit. So don't know. Once my knee starts feeling better, I will. I don't know. Probably stand back up. Let's see. Items. Let's just do that. So first parameter will be items. So hang on, we're gonna sell one item and then 0. Survivor, new survivor. Survivor, not inventory items. Add range. How do I make a collection of items on the fly like that? I guess we'll just add, because I think it gets ugly in C# if I don't do it this way. People are gonna yell at me, so we'll do it. Whoops. Items. That's not gonna be the name of that variable. We're gonna rename that. New. There we go. Okay. Cookie, I have no idea who that is. I'll take it as a compliment. Oh, actually, no, that's correct. Because I didn't do this yet. Sold message. Bonk. And that's what the test is good for. More and more I default to select rather than for loops for stuff like that. I agree, Twitchloff. I don't really have a good way of selecting over a number like that. Or I'm not thinking of how to do it right now. Because what I've got is an integer. So like... as far as I know, I don't have a good way of taking that integer and like looping. But I'm not thinking, but it could just be that I'm not thinking of how you... I could be forgetting how to do that. Oh, yeah, you're right! Yeah, and repeat's the one that, like, lets you do it at the same time. Yeah, I forgot about this. Because actually what I want is this. Yeah, you're right. Number of items. Yeah, that's the one I want. See? There's the evil don't do this with a for loop way of doing it. Thank you for remembering how to do that. Items to add. Like that. Nice, Greendolf, nice. Everyone should try to learn something every day as a programmer. It's usually a good idea. Actually, whether you're a programmer or not, you should try to learn something every day. Let's go ahead and give this a try. I'm actually going to full kill the bot. Oh yeah, see, look, because I did a full build. It's trying to build all the things, and so then it is failing here. Because obviously the bot doesn't want to let go of the DLLs that it owns. So let's go ahead and do a rebuild. Select star from T-Rex. That hello world there is really hilarious when you think about what's going on when it says that, because that is in fact the bot attempting to survive as we killed it. So we were killing the bot and it was trying to stay up. Really kind of sad. There we go. More developer fuel ready. Okay, so the bot is in here. Let's go ahead and try a couple of things. What is it? Shop list? Oh, yeah, see, buy something. Let's see. I want to do a shop buy. We'll make sure so I can buy a bat. We're going to say shop sell a inventory. Hang on a second. I need to bring this back onto the screen so we can all see this. Alright, here we go. Current inventory. I have a sword, an axe, a bat, and a bat. And if I want to sell that last bat, let's say shop sell, and that would be A, B, C, D. So I need to change the listing on inventory so we can see that. But now when I do inventory, and shop sell C, I should not have any bats anymore. There we go. I have a sword and an axe. So, perfect. That's exactly what we wanted to see. It is definitely actually selling those items. Let's get our inventory display fixed so that we can see that. Inventory command. So the way we displayed that was right here. You have these items. So the item text is what we want to fix. And it's actually this select right here that's doing it. So let's do this. Item name uses. There is an overload on select that will get us the int and the string. So int is first and then this. It's going to return a string, so int is the second one. So it's item followed by index is what we get. And so then I want to convert that And the way I'm going to do that is horrible for now, so please don't kill me. Please, no one kill me for this. I really am a nice person. I'm gonna say A plus index. Sorry, I had to. And I think that will work. Just give me 1 second. Think about that. Yeah, that should work. We should try that. Durability uses. We'll say uses, although I think that's going to get wordy. We try just a quick restart. Specimen, I see that you asked me something. Give me a second to take a look at that. I'm just going to try and get the bot going with this. Okay, so here's what I want to try. Inventory. Ooh, I didn't convert back to a character. That is my mistake. Because it took that, converted that into a number, and I need this to be a character. Need that to still be a character. Alright, Specimen, what did you say? Any recommendations for implementing returning different data through REST endpoints depending on the user role? Don't want to duplicate the filtering logic in different endpoints. Specimen, that is definitely a solved problem that many of us have done before. You want two people go to the same API, get different results based on what they're allowed to see. Returning different data through REST endpoints depending on the user role. You don't want to duplicate the filtering logic in different endpoints. So essentially, you just need to make sure that you have the, like, who the user is or who their role is or something along those lines. There are a handful of ways you could do that. One of them is you could write an action filter, for example, that grabbed the data from their authorization and converted that to filters that then get applied to the endpoints. And then it would just apply to any endpoint, because you could just use the same filter in all of them, essentially just using an action filter or something like that. There are probably some other ways we could do it as well. That's just what pops in my head first. I think I'd need to know the exact scenario you were trying to do. Okay, so we're saying A, sword, uses 3, B, sword, uses C, axe, bat, bat. Oh. Ew. Hang on. There we go. Now to go to my tests. Show success given item sold. I'm going to call this the iGame repository. That then is going to be ignored by everyone else because they don't need it. So if you don't know, in C#, anytime you need to ignore something like an output parameter, or you're using a tuple or a tuple and you don't want to use one of the values, you can actually just put in an underscore and then it will be totally ignored. That is actually called a discard, is the name of the language feature, and you can use those. So that's why I added an extra. I'm adding an extra return value, and we're just going to discard it everywhere except right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to return back the repo right there. And then in this one, I want to verify that that got called. So I want to repo dot what? What? Was that a real repo? No, I meant to send back a mock repository. My bad. Wrong type. Repo dot verify. We want to verify that the update method was called and that survivor was passed into it. So if that did not happen, then we didn't actually save our data. I forgot to do that when testing. That is on me. There we go. Oh, there you go. Lurker used action filters for that. Yes, exactly. Yep. See, as Lurker mentions, it's a nice way to do it. Because you can then just apply it anywhere that needs it. You can just be like, oh yeah, let me just toss on this attribute. Like, yeah, this one needs different results based on this. If you have consistent filtering systems, you can get away with that. There's a lot of neat things you can do with them. It's actually also a good way of applying filters, to be honest. To take the data that was sent up and convert it into something more usable. Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay. Alright, let's try this again. So, inventory. And we have our new inventory. It says we have a sword, bat, axe. Let's shop, sell. E should be that last. Actually, let's do C because it's identifiable. The axe should be missing. So if we check the inventory again, you'll see that I have a sword, a bat, and a bat. No more axe. Shop, sell, D, which will be the bat this time. Actually, let's sell C as well. And when I check my inventory, I should have only swords. So there we go. That does seem to be working. So, woohoo, yay. Yeah, exactly, Brave Cobra. I just wanted to get it working with that. I do want to specify which item was sold. But that seemed more important to get it working at all first. So I'm going to commit these first. So allow allow survivors to sell items. Okay, let's go back to sell items. So that's a sold message, but I do want to specify which item was sold. I agree with that. Let's say sold, and then we'll do say sold format sold format string, which I do want to specify because that is very different from being the actual message. So string dot format I need the item. Let's do this. We're going to change this. It's going to return the item if it successfully sold it. Which is interesting, because I guess it's returning item no matter what. I want you to reverse this. It's not null, do this, and return item no matter what. Now I did one mildly crazy thing. Because I changed the signature, I'm going to have to update all these messages, so all the trues need to become... So, these are all expecting a Boolean. Within this file, return false is going to be replaced with return null. It was the only one. Kierhaven, welcome. Thank you very much for that follow. Greatly appreciated. Welcome to the DevChatter crew. Glad to have you here. Return item. Remove correct item. Remove last item. Increase money. Okay, so these are the only ones that are about that. Let's change this to inventory item. So instead of bool, we're going to get back the inventory item. And actually, we didn't care about it here, so... Oh, which one's the message? Remove last item? Nope, that can stay. No. Oh, these don't have the message. Yeah, these don't worry about the message. Right. So we're not saying it should be true or false. So false is going to be null. False is be null. And then this one, be true, should be our item. So let's actually save this item as a variable. That's the item. Should be the item. Let's run these tests, see what happens. Oh, somewhere it still has it as bool. Oh, just over here. Derp. Oh yeah, and it would need to build this still in order for this to run, I guess. So... sold item. If sold item is not null, then we will go ahead and do that. Otherwise, we are returning true. We're going to return the message. So we sell the item, it gets us this, and we want to say sold item. There we go. Dot name. There we go. In that one's test, let's make a quick change. Save data, show success. So right here, it's not going to be this message. It is going to be string.format, that message, and whatever my item name is. Did I pass in an item? No, we didn't pass in the item. Because we repeated the item. So let's do this. Oh, right. We would have the number and then... Yeah, so we could do a range of 0 to the number of items. And then we could for each them or something like that. Well, let's do this then, since I want these to all have unique names. No, it can't. They're all going to have the same name. Son of a gun. They're all going to have the same name. If we do it that way. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm just going back to the for loop, because otherwise it gets just as complicated as this one is. So, number of items. Fleisch, hey, welcome. Greetings. Inventory items dot add, and we'll just say new inventory item with a name equal to I dot toString. There we go. Its name is going to be a number. There we go. So this should be expected. We will do this up here before we run that. The value of that is going to be survivor dot inventory items 0 dot aim. There we go. Hey Fleisch. Janisco, it must not have reconnected. I didn't. Maybe the hype went. Did the hype go? I didn't see the hype. And we'll try that again. There we go. How can you miss dinosaurs? They're huge. Mobabo, hey, welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. Okay, so now it, in theory, should be telling us the item name when we get that. Let's go ahead and try it. Not all dinosaurs were huge, by the way, Will. Some dinosaurs were actually pretty small. I think Jurassic Park, the movie, lied to you a little bit. Oh, I know how that goes, Mobabo. I have been busy on my end as well. It has been a crazy bit of time here. But I'm glad I'm able to get some of these streams back in. I did not do as many as I would have liked over the holiday, but hey, here we are, writing some again. So, there we go. Alright, bot is back in here. Whoops. Inventory. I can type, everyone. I know how. There it is. You have these items. I have a sword and I have a sword. Shop, sell, B. Sold sword for 25 coins. Shop by 1. Shop by 2. Shop by 3. Okay, so sorry about spamming the chat there, everyone. Bonorb? I apologize if I butchered your name there, but welcome. Thank you very much for following. Greatly appreciated. So, if I check my inventory now, I should have a few items. Inventory, I have a sword, I've got a bat, I've got an axe, and another sword. So I can shop, sell, C. That should sell my axe, and shop, sell, C now should sell the sword. It does. So now I have those items. Okay, so not the most efficient interface, but it does work. So I'm happy with that at least. And it does say which item you sold, and hooray. Hooray. We're getting that working. Making progress, making progress. Incremental improvements. Let's see. This is display item name when selling. It's really the big thing about what that's doing. Okay. So that lets us sell items. Let's take a look at some of our JavaScript. So that's our inventory stuff. Let me, you know what? Let's get a pull request going for that piece, and we'll work on another piece of the bot. So we're gonna hop back in here. We're gonna create a pull request for that. Allow selling items and more inventory. Change inventory display to I guess we sort of needed to do both because they really are tied together. That is not going into master, that's going into rogue, so there we go. Number of changes 2 commits, that sounds right. Alright, next thing we want to do is I want to make a new branch. This one is going to be Henrik Rogue. I want to display let's do Rogue ranking display. Might be a reasonable name for it. So here's what I want to do. I want to hop over into our web project. Oops, not the lib, the JS. And down here, I want to go to our game. So essentially what I want to do is I want to occasionally just have this display the stats. So we get this running. As long as no one has called start game. Do I have anything? Here's what I'm wondering about. What I want to do is I want to set it up so that our JavaScript has a kind of has a I'm kind of feeling like I want to have a background process running almost, in that every once in a while I want it to just kind of display the current stats, things like that. There's a lot of ways I could do it. I could do a set timeout on it. I mean, I could spin up a thread and set timeout. Where's the... there it is. So what does this do? Web worker runs the named JavaScript file. So it puts it in a different context. So it's not going to be in window. Alternately, I could call down... I could have the server be the one that does this. Maybe I'll do it that way. I'll have the server do it. Yeah, I think that's going to be overkill. We're going to do it... But yeah, I think you're right, Will. There's a couple of ways we could do it. So I'm debating whether or not I want to have the JavaScript do it or the server do it. I think we're going to put it on the server, actually, now that I think about it further. So let's do this. Let's add a public method to display this data. So start game is one big thing. In addition to start game, I want to do display ranking almost. Do I even do it in here? Maybe I display it somewhere else. No, I do think I display it on this one. We'll display the leaderboard. Call that survivor data. I want to do one of these, and then this is public. It's Annie. Annie, that's so funny. Yeah, TwitchLoft, because we're going to need to grab the data from the back end. So Twitch, I was thinking it was going to periodically do some stuff, but I think I'm going to have the web server be what decides when we do things, like when we display the rankings and when special events happens. I think is going to be the way we do it, TwitchLoft. So yeah, we're going to get stats from the background. Hey Gareth, welcome. Doing pretty well. Just doing a little bit of the stream here. I'm gonna get rid of this comment for now and figure out more about what I want to do. What I want to do here. So, why don't I say display survivor rankings? I don't need to actually change all that because it's not called anywhere. Display survivor rankings. Survivor ranking data. If this dot underscore is running, return. Otherwise, is running equals true. Do stuff here. Alright. Hang on. Okay, so we do stuff there. Hey, how about service workers? Twitch Love, yeah, there's a lot of ways we can do these things. And welcome, everybody. Glad you're all here. Thank you for stopping by DevChatter today. What do we want to do? I want to do something like render the data. Wait some amount of time. And then call that. That's a pretty aggressive to do. Yeah, Caster, that was part of the joke there. That was not a not a serious to do. You're all like, what? Brendan make a joke? He's so honest and serious about all the things all the time. Okay, so this is. How do I want to structure this? Let me take a look at my screen display class real fast. So we did a screen display class. And I need to update the JS doc. Visual Studio is going to complain about it. Thanks, Visual Studio. I know, I don't have all the stuff there. How about you treat it as a warning instead of an error? So let's show the items, that's right line, that display info. This thing knows all about doing the display. So maybe that's what does it. Ooh, I hadn't realized I had that error there. Alright, so screen display needs an entity manager, which I don't have one for it. Because it gets created in the start game, but I don't really need one for this. Screen display, is it possible you could take that in somewhere else? Start and stop are really the places where maybe I should pass that one in. Okay. Good guy Chris, hey, welcome, greetings. Thanks, Caster, yeah. Yeah, no fun allowed on the stream. What? Are you crazy? You can't have fun on this stream. Yes. That was, of course, a joke. We like to have fun on the stream. Hey, my cat's here. I can't believe he was not here this whole time. It's probably because of the fact that I've stolen his chair. For all the regulars here, you know, I don't usually sit while I'm streaming, and I am sitting today, which is weird. Sys dot underscore screen display, and I want to say show survivor rankings? I don't know, something like that. Maybe he doesn't like the cat doesn't like bad jokes. Oh, or do you mean Casru? Casru doesn't like bad jokes. That I know. Huh, yes. Cat thought I was talking to him. Hey Jolie, welcome. Wait some amount of time. Hang on our screen display, where do I do the... Ooh, that's terrible. You guys are gonna kill me for this. Yep, definitely gonna kill me for that one. That's funny, Gareth. To be honest, actually, for years now, I have like, I hadn't actually put my standing desk down in literally years. So, any time I was working on anything, I was standing. Heck, even while gaming. So, I play all my gaming is done standing up. So. It's hilarious. All right. This is terrible. Get rid of it. There we go. So show survivor rankings, and we're gonna pass in the survivor ranking data. Can it make that? No. Let's hop over here. Since this tends to be the class that knows about displaying stuff inside of our canvas, I kind of want to put it in here. So we will do that. Actually, we're going to put that back. We're going to add that in a minute. We'll assume the canvas is not clear, and we will clear it. Let's do this. So we'll break this out into separate methods for now. I just want to think this through. So we will draw a rectangle. That is the full width of this. So from 0, 0 to this dot. What shortcuts did I make? That's grid width and height. No, I need the whole thing, so we're going to grab them off the canvas. Yeah, if I could type. Width and this dot underscore canvas height. So we will pass in, fill the rectangle with wasteful gray. We could do something fancier at some point, but that will get us a basic full rectangle of ugly gray. Then the next thing that we want to do is draw some text. So right line ought to work. So we say right line text, and that is really writing the info right line. So that's like a shortcut for that. Might not do that for now. We may leverage that still, actually, though. But I'll need to refactor that if we're going to use it. So this is the starting X, which I will put at 10. The starting Y. How big is our text usually? Didn't I pull font size up as a variable? Font size, 16. Where is this? Okay. So font size plus 4 is where we're going to start our Y. Whoops. Nope. That is just 4 pixels in. And then this is going to be font size plus 4. Or was that a constant in here? That's just a constant. It's none of this. It's just font size plus 4. Survivor ranking data. Have you thought about the... No. I do like Dell monitors. I am actually running 2 Dell monitors here. They make some really nice ones. Mine are not ginormous monitors. Mine are like a pair of 16 by 10s. I think they're 24-inch monitors, if I remember correctly. They're not super new, but they work fine. I really like the 16 by 10 aspect ratio. Big fan. I don't like giving up 10% of my pixels just because people think that monitors should be optimized for watching movies instead of working on them like their computers. But hey, maybe I'm the crazy one. I'm not the crazy one. So survivor ranking data. What's the... I gotta think of what structure we want to have on this. So clearly I don't want this to... Like, this could just be a list of ranking data. Or it could be grouped by something. Let's assume that it's grouped by something. So if we do for each on that, and then have this be for each one of these, we're going to do that, and this is what we're going to run. We need the index too. We don't just want the record. We want the record and the index, because that'll help us keep track. Because we do want to we want to do this time. We want index times this value. So I will call this let line height equal font size plus 4, and I will say line height times the index, and the text we're going to write is record dot is going to be this. Let's do index plus 1, and then the name is going to be, and this is string interpolation for anyone that doesn't know. If you are, not up to date on modern JavaScript, let's say record dot name. Whoops, name. That'll be the person's name. And then let's do record dot money. Sure, money sounds fine. Let's pull this out as a variable. Let that be text. So line height text, line height times indexed. DDNC07, welcome back. Greetings, hi. Okay, so that should display them, assuming that this gets filled up with data that is in a collection called overall. It should write that out. Hey, sorry about that, DDNC. Yeah, the bot does not let you post links in here, but I think I've already submitted for that conference, actually. For Decorama in Belgium. I don't remember. I think that their call for papers went out like a month ago or something like that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I submitted this year. Let me check. Actually, whoops, wrong browser. I think I submitted a couple of things. I don't remember exactly what I sent there, but I can check what I sent. Hang on, let me log in. I have I put in a C# features suggestion, a clean code in C#, as well as one about live streaming and how to run your own live stream. So prototype, that's funny. Yeah, no, there. It's always funny when you find out about a conference that's actually near you that you didn't even know was going on. But yeah, see, it's funny. I live nowhere near Antwerp, and I knew what was going on. So I have been meaning to go to that conference for quite a while, actually. I saw just this year there's maybe it's, I mean, I know it's the same people-ish because they're still using the Tekorama brand. But I saw that they branched out into the Netherlands again this year, so the conference is sort of expanding and that they've got 2 events now. So I thought that was really cool. I do not know the organizers of that event, but I would like to go. Part of the challenge, of course, is obviously I'm not in Europe, so I actually have to, cross a pond to get there. It's not a, short flight or train ride or something like that. Let's see, show survivor rankings. I think that's gonna work. So up to wasteful, we're gonna do this. So display survivor rankings, we do that, and this, and then we say done. Screen display. Did we clear this at the end of it? No. Does screen display have a public clear canvas? No, so I'm just going to call its private clear canvas just to be sure here at the end, which is an obvious thing. Like, this is just temporary so I can see if it works. Clear canvas. So remove that once it works correctly. Okay. And actually, I just realized it needs to go in here, not in there. Okay. 500 euro, that's actually not bad. So for example, some conferences get very expensive. Usually has to do with, I mean, most of that cost gets spent at the food and the location. So usually it's the venue that's charging nearly all of that money to the conference organizers. So whenever you see expensive conferences, that's usually, the conference would often like to get that down so much lower than it is. Because it's usually them paying the venue for food and the rooms that they're going to be in, that sort of thing. Okay, so that's going to delay. We're going to display the survivor rankings, and then we'll clear out the canvas. What did I do in that method again? Did we do anything weird? We just put the data up on the thing and then show it? Okay, so now I just need to be able to call this from somewhere. Is there a public way for me to call something on the overlay? No, it just kind of auto runs. Connects onto some things, and that's... I don't want to wire the whole thing up just yet. I kind of wanted to test it a little bit before we got to that point. I guess that gets me the overlay, so... Let me have a look. Let me see what's running. Oh, I could merge that in now. I should do that. Yeah, as DDNC mentioned, that's actually one of the reasons why conferences end up being that expensive too, is that people can afford to attend them because a lot of times the employer of the attendee is actually the one paying for it, which does mean that those prices get quite high because the company is then paying, you know, to make sure that their employees know what they need to know. Let me just say overlay. Overlay is not defined. Okay, doesn't know what it is. So in that case, guess I'll wire this up. We will listen for display rankings, I guess. And what did I call that data that we got? Survivor ranking data? Simon, hey, welcome, greetings. Gonna pass in that. Useful, and it's gonna be display survivor rankings, survivor ranking data. Long time no see. Yeah, Simon, we're doing a little bit with that today. So one question that I actually am gonna have for all of you guys that I would love to know your opinion on is I would love to know whether you think I should separate out the wasteful game into its own project or keep it in the bot. I have kept it fairly separate so far, so it would not be difficult to move it into its own thing, where it actually ran separately with its own set of commands and was an entirely different beast. So if you want to run the wasteful game in your project, you could just grab it without worrying about connecting a whole bot. But what that would mean is that then anybody that wanted to run both the bot and wasteful would need to get them both running and configure both of them. So it becomes a question at that point. Though if we go the route of separating it, we could set up a website that allowed you to just add this game into your stream, and you wouldn't need to run your own instance. So it's a question. So if you have opinions, anyone in chat, feel free to let me know. Maybe you want to maybe you want to add the game to your stream at some point. Simon, you've been playing Fallout 76. Nice. I haven't even tried it yet. I've heard not great things from the gaming community, but I don't always trust that. All right, so I want to go to the Wasteful Hub. No, Hub. There we go. Surely the bot/chat would just be one of multiple UI options. Simon, I don't. What do you mean? What do you mean? You mean like how to control the bot through the chat would be one of the options? You're correct. We do want to allow other ways of doing it. All right, that's when they call us. So we want to go to this one. Task, display survivor rankings, and this is going to be down here. Survivor ranking data. Okay, where are we over here? Where do we have data models anywhere? Did I define DTOs anywhere? Item DTO, where is that? Hub DTOs, there it is. Cool. Class. Whoops. Let me go steal the name of that class first off. Survivor ranking. Data. DTO. Now DTO in this case is just a thing that tells me, hey, this isn't really like a model object that you're using inside the code anywhere. This is just something that you use to send the data somewhere else. So in this case, this is how we send it down to the JavaScript. So first off, I defined that I defined a list-ish. It doesn't have to be a list, it could be an iList or something like that, of some kind of thing, and we're going to call this a survivor rank record, maybe survivor. That's a fantastic question. DTO it's a fairly industry standard term. It just means data transfer object. So data transfer object. And welcome, RK Warren. Thank you very much for that follow. Greatly appreciated. Welcome to the stream. Let's see. I mean, you could have two versions, one standalone, one integrated with a minimal overhead, since the core logic could be shared. That's true, Simon. So what we have, so the way it's set up right now is I've kept this as basically a separate module that gets run, and it initializes itself separately. So if you don't want this game, it's really easy to not include it. So DTOs generally are not stored in the database is the idea. So the data transfer object is, so you pull some data out of the database and work with it, but the data transfer object is, this is structured in such a way that I just want to send it to something else. So it's concerned with how you send. So for example, a lot of people use the term view model when what they mean is a data transfer object coming up. If it's really a view model, it has some logic with it. Senzuki, we are working on a little roguelike game that you can actually play in the chat, but I'll get back to that in 1 second. I want to answer this question. So the idea with that is when I receive data from a user, for example, I can bind stuff that I receive from my user. If I bind that to the same object I store in the database, they could potentially send me things I don't want them to. For example, they might send me a new ID or something like that and try to trick my data. But if I'm using a data transfer object, I control what they send me. So for example, if you want to update your profile on a website and I use a data transfer object, then I let you update maybe, your display name, but maybe I don't want you to change your email or something like that because my system depends on it in some way, then what I can do is I can make sure that data transfer object doesn't even have email in it. So when I receive that object, that's not even an option. So you couldn't have, just tried to circumvent the system and send it to me. So Senzuki, that is what we are working on right now. I am setting it up so we can do a little display that's going to show the rankings of our user right now. So let me go ahead and do that. So remember record detail, we're going to put that on there as well. We'll create that type. And what did these have? This had name. Did we put anything else on it when we were displaying it? Record name and money. Okay, name and money. I can do that. Name. Whoops, long. Actually, is JavaScript going to care about that? It probably won't. But if we don't make it a long, then our system's going to yell at us. Okay, so let's put that into its own file. Oh, yeah, no problem, Senzuki. We are working on a little roguelike game in our application here. So essentially what that means, so Rogue is an old procedurally generated style of gameplay where it will generate the map, and you as the player move around in, like up, down, left, right directions. There are enemies, items to find, fight, things like that. Usually has some kind of exploration. We're doing just a little version of that in the streams that people can play through the chat, and so this would be something that anyone could put on their stream who does a Twitch stream, YouTube stream, whatever. So that's kind of the concept there. Let's allow this to take in a survivor. So we'll build it from that. Name and money. So for now we're just ranking based on money, but we're probably going to rank based on points, level, maybe valor, or some kind of victory point type of calculation at some point later. For now it's just going to be based on money, and that's fine. It gets us some level of ranking. So once we have that, where's the other DTO? It's right here. We just have overall. They have those values. So now when we call this, so this needs to get called from somewhere. So in the future I want this to be triggered automatically on a timer. Hostar222, welcome, thanks for following, greatly appreciated. If anybody else in here in the stream is enjoying any of our content or anything like that, please do be sure to hit that follow button to make sure that you get notified when we go live, as that is the best way to know when you want for catching future streams. Let's see, rankings. Did I show rankings somewhere? Now that I think about it, I thought I made a command for that. Is it inside of teams? Rank teams, yeah. Okay, so let's say wasteful rank. Wasteful rank command. This is going to be a game command? Base game? No. What did I call these? I thought I made these something. Are they just they're just a base command? Okay, that's fine. I thought I did it differently. Misremembering. Okay. So we have that inside a handle command. I want to do this. We need one of these. Okay. That is going to get stored in a read-only field. when this gets called, we are going to call... welcome someone. Give me 1 second to see who that was. See who that was? See who that is? Awesome, Senzuki. Really appreciate the compliment. I like my stream also. I like me. And Senzuki, thank you very much for that follow. Greatly appreciated. Hopefully we will see you back here often. What is... did that not... Oh, right, it's not on this one yet. That's why. Wasteful display right here. There it is. So we're going to display that data. So now when I try to call it over here, it should know what I'm trying to make. There it is. Fantastic. Hey, you've currently worked as a front-end developer for a year now. Awesome, congratulations. And you realize front-end isn't for you. You want to transition to C#, and you're wondering what technologies you need to learn. So there's a lot of stuff. If you want to switch to a back-end C# job, first off, awesome. And I would assume you already know JavaScript, so you don't need like beginning programmer stuff going on front end. Knowing Azure and a bunch of other things can definitely help you get a job somewhere, but really I would focus mostly on learning. I would recommend back-end web development for that. So I would take a look specifically at ASP.NET Core, and yes, you do want to learn how to use Azure, but keep in mind that there's more than one cloud out there. So while Azure is certainly a very common one for C#, it's not the only one also. But definitely check out ASP.NET Core if you're interested in getting into C# development. The core is significant. I don't know what your background is, so let's call that ranking data. Yes. The problem is if you're in the front end at all, even if you are like a JavaScript, mainly JavaScript focused, you end up having to do a lot of UI work. There's no real way around it because you're too close to the UI at that point. So if you don't like making UIs, front end is not for you. And if you like data, then I would definitely there's so much stuff to learn about C#. Yeah, exactly, Andy. There's a lot of definitions of front end, which is why I was asking about the JavaScript stuff. Mr. Yeah, a lot of people don't like designing UIs. It's difficult. So it sounds like DB focus and things like that. Really, you just want to get into back-end development, it sounds like. If you like business logic and modeling data, I would recommend, there's a lot of things to learn. Pick up an ORM of some kind. So, and by pick up, I mean like try one, like pick one up and try one. I would actually try a few of them. So try your hand at Dapper, try your hand at Entity Framework. So like Dapper, Entity Framework. And make sure you're doing all this in ASP.NET Core, not in regular ASP.NET. And so those would be good places to start. A couple of other things that I would look at, obviously you want to look at Azure, but like Azure Functions is something to look at. And there are a lot of other choices. There are a lot of other things to look at as well. JavaScript and TypeScript pretty well. In that case, you shouldn't have that much trouble switching to C#. There are going to be some differences, but syntactically, they're not that different. So, and apparently you've read some good books, so awesome. You want to learn coding in Java. How did you learn coding? You're 15 and you want to learn coding like that code you're doing. Senzuki. For one thing, Senzuki, I do... So, I was going to be doing a Learn C# stream today, but it got canceled. We're going to do it next week sometime. So if you are interested in learning C# with us, I do a stream where we actually are introducing new programmers to the concepts of programming. So if you and really if anybody on the stream either wants to learn C# or knows someone that does, get reminders on that. I'm gonna set up a new event for our next stream. I'm hoping for next Tuesday. Essentially, I have gotten another streamer who's a gaming streamer who wanted to learn to code, and I am teaching him how to code on the stream, which I think is pretty interesting. So you can jump straight into ASP.NET. You do not need to jump into .NET Core. So you don't need to know .NET Core really in order to learn ASP.NET Core. Now keep in mind that ASP.NET Core is running in .NET Core, so you kind of learn them both at the same time, but it pretty much just goes that way. Wish I didn't have to work Tuesdays or I would stop by. I mean, so they're not always Tuesday, so as I said, it was supposed to be today. If Bubs can't do Tuesday, it's going to be Thursday next week. Though I'd say very few backenders I know don't see any front-end side. A web dev should know at least a bit of the... Oh, yeah, so as what Andy's mentioning, so I want to make this clear, because that is actually a very good point. If you're trying to get away from front-end development, you'll have trouble escaping it entirely. So... Andy's totally right. You'll not get away from it entirely, but if it's just you don't like doing it that much, then it can become a, yeah, you do it sometimes, but most of your work is back-end work, is what you're looking for, I think. And Mr. Bister, thank you very much for that follow. Greatly appreciated. Sounds good, Senzuki. Yeah, it's probably going to be Tuesday. I will get it scheduled. I think you followed already. But then there's also that event that I posted. So check that out. Once I actually get the date locked down, as I said, we were supposed to do it today, but I had to cancel it because the guest, who is the guy that is like the learner in this streaming thing for like our Learn to Code series, he's actually he should have been at a job interview. I don't know how it went. I'll have to find out, but when he's got to go to a job interview, it's like, oh, okay, yeah. It was funny. He was actually streaming when he got the call from the people there, and they set up the interview, and he's like, "Oh, hey, that's awesome!" And I was like, "Yeah, we'll go ahead and cancel that." So I actually told him, I was like, "Yeah, we're not going to do it then." So overall equals new list of survivor data. And we're going to do this, and new survivor. Just for the convenience for me, I'm going to make a second constructor on this. So we're going to have an empty constructor here. And name is, who's a good name of a zombie survivor type guy? I know. Columbus. No, Columbus and Dallas? Was there a Dallas? I don't remember if there was a Dallas. Money. Let's see, 5,000. We'll pull this from the database in a minute. I just want to make sure this works at all. So money, Dallas, let's say 2,000, right? Okay, so there's a couple of records. We'll pull that from the data in a minute, and we are returning that back, telling it to display, and I think that will work as long as we call this command. So let's go to our module. Tell it to do this thing. Make this command available to be called, please. Thank you. And kill the bot. Goodbye, bot. Yeah, there are definitely some interesting choices we could make. Like, do you guys know who Columbus and is Dallas with two L's? Am I crazy? For some reason that word just looks weird. Yeah, no, I spelled it right. It just looks weird. Sometimes words look weird. I don't know. So hopefully that bot's dead. I killed it. It's with 2 L's. Yeah, okay, cool. So I'm not crazy. Whoops. Sorry about that. I didn't write this. This is literally the pass-through. It's kind of complicated to explain why it is doing this. This really is so that I can use a little bit of magic here. It's just a wrapper that helps me with my inversion of control to do my dependency injection. Nothing to see there, nothing to worry about it. Senzuki, big question you have about coding. Do you have to be good at math? You do not have to be good at math. You definitely do not need to be good at math. The only times when you need to be good at math in order to do programming is if you are working on an application that has to do math, or if you're doing something along the lines of like actual graphics programming. So there are a handful of things that require math, but for the most part, no, you don't need it. Well, you need a good understanding of logic for the most part. Math, much less. It can help though, because there are sometimes tricks you can do where math helps. So you just don't have to be fantastic at it. The most you ever need is usually like calculus is probably the most complicated math you need for programming. Does someone have any tips on how, where you can learn Java coding? Mr. had a good set there. There are a lot of books about programming, and you can find all kinds of resources on the internet for how to do that stuff. Also, if you want to chat with other people, and this goes for anybody that's in here, you can join our Discord to chat with other programmers. There's a lot of us in there. They're all the people that show up here on DevChatter, so it's a good place. I've been working as a developer for 6 months, and after you finishing your bachelor's degree, you do it all, full stack development. It's the only thing that feels natural when working on a huge solution with your, yeah, so Heap, that's awesome. Congratulations also on, getting yourself a developer gig for 6 months. That's awesome. You're the only one that's not lagging for you. Ed Hacked. I don't know what that means, but awesome. I'm glad I'm not lagging. Knowing math also helps if you do machine learning. Yeah, there are various domains where math can help. Ever tried to get in Mem SQLite EF core working with AutoFac IOC and repositories while still being testable? Oh, the in-memory. I was like, in-mem. The in-memory SQLite EF core working. I think we were using that in the beginning of this project, actually. And we were actually testing with it. Ed Hacked, you make games. Awesome. Well, welcome. We're doing a little game here. I'm actually a full-stack developer, have been for a long time. I've been programming for about 20 years, and it's fun. You're referring to how everyone is saying how they only do front-end or back-end, and it sounds... yeah, so usually people have a focus, though. There's something they like doing more, so... NS Gamer, so full stack so it's really full stack dev. So it's that you develop on the full stack. So that means you do both the front end, the back end, you access the database. Essentially, you work on all aspects of the program, is the idea there. You've only been, yeah, see, Ed? Yep, there you go. Yep, you could start programming as a kid, and I'll tell you, programming right now as a kid is much better than it was programming, when I was younger. So you can even vertically align two divs. No, I vertically align two divs. Whoa, are you crazy? No one can vertically align two divs, Andy. That's just crazy talk. A stack of layers. Do you have a job as a developer, developer coder? Senzuki, I am actually independent right now, but I have worked as a programmer at various companies, usually doing consulting, that sort of thing. Right now, what I do is mentoring and training for various companies, and I run workshops and things like that, so I teach other developers to do coding. That is my main thing. So, it's kind of fun. That's really cool, Ed. That is awesome. Yeah, so Simon, yeah, if you're older than I am, you were pretty much required to basically program in order to even use a computer at all. So this is running. Hang on, let me try Wasteful Rank. This will not be the name long term. Did I leave this up somewhere? I don't know what this is gonna do. Wow. That wasn't I mean, it ran it, so that got called. Let's see what happened. I don't know what it did. So let's take a look. Flenick, welcome. Thank you very much for that Twitch Prime sub. I'm glad you're enjoying the stream. Thank you very much. Please make sure to enjoy your hype emote, and let's get some hype in the chat. I know we got other subs in here. Hype. New sub in the chat. All right, let's drop that there. So let's see if we actually got any data or where that got messed up. Let's see. Oh, Mr. No, you don't realize. It is. You're like, yeah, you had to learn how to program, so you did. It's like, no, it was so much harder back then. And keep in mind that what we learned in that is not all that relevant anymore. So it is not as glorious to have programmed back in those early times as you'd think. Now, I'm not in the way. I'm not that far back. My early development was, you know, obviously 20 years ago, so not quite that bad. Why does it not want to run this time? What's it doing? I might have to actually check. So we're gonna have a look, see what's going on. Welcome back, Senzuki. So you're good at scripting. I'm not. I'm not good. You do a bit enough to make a game. Ed, I don't know what you mean by building as opposed to scripting. By scripting, I would say that I like that I am good at programming things. Scripting is one way of programming. Flenick, you like supporting small channels like this, so you don't need icons. Awesome. Glad to hear it, Flenick. Always appreciate it. Especially web front-end CSS JS, that part changes a lot through times. Yes, true, Andy. See, there you go, Mr. So the thing that will impress you is I am actually a second-generation programmer as well. Well, yeah, my stream's still pretty small. The stream is small. Yeah, it would be not very nice to call me small. It's top. Oh, derp! That's why it's not calling it. I win the idiot award for the day, everyone. There we go. I just derped the heck out of that. What's in this data? So overall for each, drop a breakpoint down there. Step in here. Record, index, money and name. One, Columbus, 5,000. 20. 4. Oh! Index plus 1. Index plus 1, Brendan. Alright, well, I know the problem. So that's good. Let's go fix it. I want screen display. I pretty much want index plus 1. Yeah, exactly. Zachariah, welcome. Thanks for following. Yeah, the plus 1 thing is stupid. So let's do this. So I'm gonna do const rank equals index plus 1. We're just gonna do that. So that's gonna be rank, and I actually don't like the way that looked with that value, so I'm gonna do that. So we're gonna say 1 and then that and that, and then on this one, line height times rank, because we need that to be 1 based for multiplying, because we need 20 to be the base one. Oh, you tried to defend my honor. Well, thank you for that. Could you talk a tiny bit about DTOs? What are they and why do you use them? Andy, I will talk about those again in a minute. I'd say some things. The back end. And welcome everybody, thanks for those follows, greatly appreciated. Things are changing so fast in some areas like front end so much as the React.js all the time. Yeah, so front end changes really, really fast. That's one of the things people don't like about being in the front end space, is that the rate at which you have to learn new technologies in the JavaScript world is difficult to deal with. Okay, so Super Low and Vibranium, thank you very much both for those follows. Always appreciated. Glad you're here. Hope you're enjoying the stream. You took a break for 10 years and came back to HTML4 and CSS. Yeah, Mr. That's a big change. Why do you not use Angular with ASP.NET in the back end for your bot? Zachariah, and I apologize if I butcher anybody's name. I apologize. So we are specifically trying to show how as Andy says, raw.js, so I would say vanilla.js. So we're doing that intentionally. Regarding Angular, we're not binding to anything really. We are using canvases, and because of that, so we're intentionally doing sort of a learning thing with canvases so we can show how they work and how to work with them. And canvases are usually not used with Angular. Mostly Angular is designed for dealing with the DOM as a whole and not just the canvas. And a lot of people sometimes ask why we're not using TypeScript, and the same reason actually applies. This is intentional to do this. Future streams, future projects, we are going to do things in TypeScript. And one of our other projects, rather than using Angular, we are using Vue.js. So that's one of the other frameworks that does the same kind of thing as Angular. So yeah, thanks, Will. Why are you not using TypeScript? Yeah, Andy, so that's the idea. Now people are using a bunch of tools for CSS2 like PostCSS. Yeah, so exactly. So we had Sass, Less, and all these other things. So it has gotten very complicated. Okay, so Andy, I talked a little bit about the idea for a DTO, and the concept is that Sometimes on a DTO, you want specific data to go down. You don't want to use the whole model object. So a DTO is designed for transferring data between parts of a system or to another system entirely. So in this case, we are sending, because we're sending data somewhere, we want to control what it is. DTOs are also very common for when receiving data from users, as you want to receive a very specific set, and that set may not match up with your model objects, and you don't want to bind that data that your users send you, because then they can change things in ways you didn't mean. So the data transfer object is a way of sort of controlling the relationship of that interaction and saying, here's the data set I want you to give me, and I know how to work with that. And I don't want you to send me anything else. And then again, when I send you data, I'm like, I want to send you exactly what you need in order to work. So you've said, hey, this is what it is. Yeah, sorry, Will. Hey, you guys all call out my typos all the time, so it's only fair. It's only fair. Let's see. Const line height equals that and that. This should not be getting created in here. That should go up there at minimum. That's getting modified in there. I guess I could const this too. It doesn't need to be. It's not going to change. So text that. And I think this will work. Yeah, no problem, Andy. Hopefully that explains it a little bit. I could give you some examples of how it would work. I don't have any prepped right now, but that's the concept. So if you've ever worked with like what a lot of people would call a view model, why didn't that command get called? Yeah, exactly, DDNC. Yeah, I think this will work. Just gonna try it. Let me drop in the. I want to drop in the little check here. So I've got a couple of breakpoints there. We'll see if that happens. There it goes. It gets caught in the debugger. We have data. Let's jump into here. So that should make one. So when I step over to the next call, we should have text. That looks like the text we want to display. And then we want to display it at 4 and... should be 4 and 20. As long as I didn't mess up the ordering of the text or anything. Oh, it did write it. It wrote it in gray. I know what happened. That's hilarious. I wrote the text in gray. Yeah, totally did. Did y'all see that? I wrote the text in gray. Because I forgot to do this. I'm like, why isn't that displaying? That should totally be displaying now. Well, yeah, it should have. Let's try that. Alright, so now that we set that, hey, there they are. Now they're displaying. Okay. So now we just need to fix the size and the styling. So they were there the whole time. We just couldn't see them. So now we need to make that bigger. But yeah, data works. We can transfer it down. And after like 30 seconds, we expect this to disappear without me doing anything. So we'll see if that works. I guess I don't have a good way of letting you guys see this and keep working on my own stuff. 4 and 20. That I got 4 and 20, not 420. Totally different. Mid 30s to mid 40s. What is this? Hang on. Most of this together. Senzuki. When did I learn coding? In the 90s, about 20 years ago. I think this will work. I love that expression. Yeah, see. Yeah. Somebody's trying to figure out how old I am. Yes. Clearly. I apologize in advance. Is that I'm Ismo? Guessing? I might have just butchered your name, but welcome. Thank you for that follow. Greatly appreciated. Welcome to the stream. And, Mr. Mr. is, you know, using educated guesses, I think, and trying to figure it out. El Mismo. Ah, got it. Yeah, see, I couldn't... The problem is I can't tell. I'm like, is that a capital I or is that an L? And I can't tell. The font's not there. But awesome. Welcome. Hey. glad you didn't mind. And 4120, hello. Greetings. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Yep. Oh, look, it disappeared. So cool. So that worked. Can we... W start? Hey, good. The game still works. Awesome. Oh, whoops, I started the other one. So this is the game. I can play it with a mouse and with a keyboard, I should say. Which is very unfair to everyone else. This is about to hurt a lot. Right there is where it hurts. And I escaped. So there we go. Okay, let me go ahead and clear out a couple of things. First off, I'm going to get rid of the version of the game that's being played right there, as that one is not the real one. This time, I'm going to refresh. But the cool thing is, when I refresh it, it should start working, and once we get the real data displaying from the database, the ranking should be able to appear on the screen. So... Zachariah, yeah, free points. So the cool thing is, my character escaped. So, ooh, yeah, I used the last of my sword. So my character escaped while holding nothing. So I have no items right now. But before I head back in, I can buy a couple of swords. So my character now has 2 swords. So when he goes back in, he'll have those. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to update our data so that when we go in here, rank commands right here, we're not going to use the fake data, we're going to pull real data from real survivors. So, we don't want that, we want to have a survivor repo? No, we want a game repository, I think. Let's add that. We're going to add in this field. And here's what I want to do. When you call this, I want to say, get me ooh. Give me all the survivors. And actually, before we do that, let me just take a look. Did I have get a create? Okay, yeah. Won't worry about that then. So list all the survivors. So this should get me everybody. Everyone. And let's do an order by descending. Ordered by money. So that's all the survivors, ordered by money. And then I want to do this. I want to select X. Let's make this a little clearer by doing one of these. So we're going to list there, order by there. Then we're going to select here. We're going to say X dot, whoops, nope, new survivor record DTO. And we're going to pass in X, like so. This will get us all of these as those, ordered by money descending. And then I want to take this collection and I am going to put it right in here. Whoops. So we will create that. That is the basic structure. Now, I don't want this in here like this. I want to pull this out all as one of these, but there we go. So var, we'll call this record DTOs. There we go. Good enough. So that's the record DTOs. They get put in that list. We're going to send this back. So that should now be everyone. Now, how many we want to display is going to be a problem. It's just going to keep scrolling them off the screen, but that's not the worst thing. The code should still work, though, I think. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to run this. I'm going to refresh the screen, and we'll see if we can't get this to actually show up. Whoops. Gotta kill the bot. Nope, he won't die. He's probably gonna say hello. Yeah, see, he's saying hello. Yeah, so that wasn't really a build fail. I mean, it is, but what happened is the bot was still running, and it didn't want to stop running, and so it hangs on to all of its files. So when we compile the project, the bot's like, hey, I'm using those, and right now, it's still dying. The bot doesn't like to stop because it has a lot of background processes, so it waits until those like actually finish before we can restart. So now we've restarted the bot. I'm going to turn off the overlay display for a second. Yeah, the bot is like us in a lot of ways. It is sentient. So there we go. So too small to actually see, but the cool part is it does actually display our data there. So let's go ahead and nice that up a little bit. So first things first, we need a bigger font size. That is tiny, 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 tiny font size. So we're going to do this. Alright, that's already gone. Okay, so font size. Which actually for this, we might want to use a bigger font size, now that I think about it. So there's a couple of things we need to do. The first one is I want to do like a 32 pixel font to display the initial text. So I'm going to make header height which will make 36. font size in there. $32 pixels, record money. So that's going to be displaying now below the header, so I can now write the header. We'll call this greatest survivors. We'll put this there, and then this will be at header height.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome, thanks for that follow, greatly appreciated. Font size is big but great. When you want the bot to die, just ask it to pay his taxes. Yeah, Janisku, we could definitely do a Blazor implementation of Wasteful at some point. There's actually all kinds of things we could do Blazor implementations of in the future. I want to do little games. So one series I've been thinking about doing on the stream is where we do like simple games where we're not going to have like the chat input and the overlay display and things like that. And we'll just do like little one-offs where we take a day or two and we say, hey, we're just going to see, can we make, XYZ common game in a stream. So for example, like make a quick snake game, make a quick Tetris game, make a quick Minesweeper. So just those kinds of things, like simple known games. Everybody knows how it works. You're not deciding on the concept. You're not making a new game. It's just like build a little thing together. And yeah, we could do like Tetris and Blazor, for example. I've been thinking about doing like I thought about doing a Tetris game in JavaScript, but we could do one in Blazor. There's actually an aspect to that I want to do long term. So I have a little twist, but the Tetris game is actually something that I had suggested to Guy Royce before we started this Rogue game. So let's go ahead and do that. Wasteful rank. There we go. Greatest survivors. Listed right there. Font size. I mean, the display is kind of bad right now. We need to actually like style something in here, and for that I would want to do like a background image for the whole thing, and style it in that way, and then we can just like get it displayed in there. But I think that does work. He did a Tetris and Turbo Pascal in high school. Will, that is awesome. And Janisku, I agree. .NET Core 3 is going to be fantastic. I am really looking forward to it. I think a lot of people are looking forward to .NET Core 3. Some good stuff in there. Display survivors ranking. Display survivors ranked. Commit that. Publish the branch. And then I'm going to go over here. We're going to do this. Adding a simple ranking display. Command-based. It's not going into master, it's going into rogue. There we go. Let's see. Flipzor. What do I think about Blazor? I think Blazor is an awesome idea. I am looking forward to using it. I don't think it's something that people should be using for production level purposes right now. Not necessarily because of instability or anything like that. It is more because it is early, and there is a high probability that things are going to change significantly in Blazor. So a lot of times with the early parts of Microsoft's frameworks and things like that they set up, they will they'll make a lot of changes to it. They'll change the structure of it. They'll realize there's a better way of doing it. And I agree, they're usually changing to a better way most of the time. But the problem is, once you write a bunch of code using it, you then have to go change a lot of that. So that's the challenge with using a lot of stuff that's this early on in development. So that's why I would caution that for like something that you're going to rely on in a business aspect. But if you want to play around with Blazor, then it is perfectly capable of that. So if you just want to play around with it and learn it, absolutely. So I intend to do some Blazor on the stream. We haven't touched it because we're mostly working on our long-term projects, and that principle applies. Because this is a long-term project, I don't want to put Blazor on it, because the Blazor code that I put there, I might just need to update again in a month, and then again in another month, and then again in another month. So for just trying something out and playing with it, sure, yeah, it's great for that right now, and I intend to do that. We'll see what happens going forward, though. So looking forward to that. Mobabo, we are using what is called XUnit. It is one of two, I would say, out-of-the-box suggested unit testing frameworks for C# in ASP.NET. So essentially, when you go to create new projects in .NET, let me show you. Actually, we'll just go to this window. So add new project window inside of Visual Studio or anything like that. You'll get the same thing in the .NET Core command line interface as well, by the way. You'll see that inside of Visual C# .NET Core, so right in here, over on the right, you'll see XUnit. Oh, actually, right. They have MS Test, NUnit, and XUnit are the three that they have out of the box provided for us. We're using XUnit on this project. I have used all three at different points. They are all pretty great. It comes down to preference. So if you like one or the other, I like all of them. I've worked with them. Yes, I'm even okay with MS Test. A lot of times people are like, "Wow, you use MS Test?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, current MS Test feels a lot like NUnit. It's basically the same thing, slightly different names, but they all pretty much do the same stuff. And the nice thing is that I use Fluent Assertions, so it pretty much all, like I do all my assertion code the same way. And yes, and as Will's mentioning, SpecFlow works with them, and so does Fluent Assertions, so a lot of testing stuff works regardless of which one you use, so that's the nice thing. I played yesterday. You asked me a question, do you have any tips for doing iOS development on Windows, or should I just get a Mac? Yeah, if you want to do native iOS development, like Objective-C or Swift, go get a Mac, just period. If you want to do Xamarin development for iOS, you can get away with doing some of that on a Windows machine, but at the end of the day, they still require that you get a Mac in order to actually deploy it onto the device. So, yeah, it's kind of annoying. That might fall into that whole, leveraging a monopoly kind of thing, like, if Apple were a market leader and had like 90% of the market with their iOS devices, then they probably would have some legal issues with that. But since they don't have that, people are leaving them alone about it, but it's still kind of shady. But yeah, you probably have to get a Mac in order to do that. Fluent Assertions. Yes, I agree, Simon. I really love Fluent Assertions. And thank you for the questions, by the way. I really love answering them. Would love a unit testing framework on C# that works like Jasmine. Nested describe it to get a more descriptive structure. Simon, there are some other ways of getting those kinds of structures in C#. So, yeah. You have to do native Swift for school, so you probably just get a Mac. Yeah, that's probably a good plan. I played yesterday, and one of the nice things is that you can actually use Visual Studio. So VS Code runs on a Mac pretty nicely, so you don't even actually have to do the dual boot with Windows like you had to do in the past for that kind of thing. So you can even do .NET coding even on there. Yeah, so that's the thing. So what Janisku's mentioning is so if you were doing Xamarin or something like that, and yes, that's right, Miss Mo. There is Visual Studio for Mac, which is not exactly Visual Studio or VS Code. It's technically its own beast. And yeah, as Will mentioned, Stack Blitz, which is the new thing that he told me earlier today. And yes, so as Jadiscu's mentioning, you can just get a cheap Mac as that Mac agent, but if you're going to be doing Swift development, I would recommend you just go get the Mac. It'll probably be easier and less complicated that way. So... Oh, yeah. That's right, Mismo. Yep. VS for... Yep, see? VS for Mac is Xamarin Studio / Monodevelop. There you go, Twitchloff. New Mac Mini is cheap. I don't know how much a Mac Mini costs these days. Either way, so that tends to work. Click. Alright, good. So first layer of that built and worked nicely. Let's see. Well, a couple of things I want to mention because there are a bunch of people in here. I want to make sure that I let all of you know that one of the best ways to chat with me and the other developers here, because I think you guys do enjoy these discussions that we have, one of the best ways to keep those going is actually to join our Discord. I put a link over there in the chat, and there's also links down below the stream, or if you're in the future watching this recorded, it's down below the video. I know, you're surprised. The Discord is actually a chat application. If you haven't used it, it's very cool, and it is a great way of chatting with a lot of other people. You can post source code, you can talk about things, you can rant about annoying stuff you've run into with various technology. There's a lot of cool channels and things like that that you can take a look at, and as I said, link over there, feel free to join. If you want to contribute to any of our projects, so if you thought any of this stuff we were working on today was interesting, you like the idea of working on any of this code, you are actually welcome to work on this as well. It is over there. A link to it is in the chat, as well as down below the stream. It is github.com/devchatter, and that will get you to the main page where you'll see, roughly speaking, this. And then you can click on our bot project, and that is the main project that we were just working on here today. In addition to that, you can also use the hype command in the chat, as Janiscu just did. But you can find archives of a lot of our old videos out on YouTube. You might have noticed that some people mentioned that they found our videos through YouTube. So you can actually find recordings of our videos over there. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Brendonius, and you can also follow DevChatter. And I just retweet stuff over there. So if you just want DevChatter content, that's a great way to get that. Obviously, I'm Brendan, right there, so Brendonius. One of the other big things that I talked about with people is our Learn to Code in C# series. So if you are a beginner developer and you want to learn more about programming, our Learn to Code in C# series is an awesome one. We were going to be doing an episode of that today, but we had to reschedule it, so it's going to be next week. That link I just posted in the chat is going to take you to this page here. And on this page, you'll see that we did some episodes back in, June? And I rebooted the series in November. And scheduling got weird, Thanksgiving, whatever, US. Both me and the other person that I'm working with on this series. So when I rebooted, I decided I was going to bring in someone that didn't know how to code and is another streamer. So he's actually a gaming streamer, and we put him up in that top corner up there, in the top right corner. And I teach him how to code as we go, and everybody else can follow along. The advent of code, is that the thing that that's the yeah. Is it advent of code? Advent of code. This one? Yeah, I've seen this before. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that. We'll see. I might. I remember seeing that before. We might do that this year. That could be fun, Twitchloff. I will check that out. Other than that, yeah, so people should check that out. If you are interested, we do have awesome DevChatter merchandise that you guys can actually pick up. Yours will not be transparent because you're not using chroma key, and chroma key means my green screen that's behind me. That's how I'm right in front of Visual Studio. We have these awesome, derpy I'm coding mugs, things like that. with our little derpy dinosaur. So if you guys want to check that out, we have those. So if you want to show everybody how cool you are, that is one thing you can do. Also, if you want to support us on Patreon, we have links over there and down below the stream for more information. And if other ways to support the stream are to sub to us here on Twitch or whatever. Yeah, transparent cups. That's so that all your drink can leak out. So if you've got tea, coffee, whatever, maybe you're drinking Pepsi out of it, it can just spill right through the dinosaur. It doesn't actually spill through the dinosaur. As I said, that's just turning green because it's like, yeah. Totally needed printed on glass mugs so that our dino is transparent. Yeah. No, that is not what we did. Don't call it a cup. It's a mug, but wait, did I call it a cup? Maybe I called it, oh, transparent. Oh, Twitchloff called it a cup. Yeah, okay. And then I probably repeated it because Twitchloff said it. I blame Twitchloff. Don't kill me. If I called it a cup, it was Twitchloff's fault. I'm throwing you under the bus, Twitchloff. Okay, so, let's see. Next stream, I might do a stream tomorrow, everyone. I think my Saturday stream is getting canceled, so I will either do one tomorrow, which is Friday, or on Sunday. So be watching for that. It'll probably be... I'm not sure on the timing. So if I do it tomorrow, it will probably be at 1 p.m., which is the same time as our Saturday streams. And if you don't know when the timing is, you can actually ask our resident bot, and it will tell you in your time. So use our schedule command to check that out. So just say schedule and wherever it is that you roughly speaking are, and you can just say, and actually you can say anything that's in your same time zone. So if you don't want to give away where you are, you can be like, yeah, I totally live in California. Yeah, and then you can get California time. So I don't live in California. Anyway, we will be back tomorrow for another episode of DevChatter, or on Sunday, but it will not be Saturday. Our normal stream times here, we stream on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so we should be back for a full regular week next week, so December should be fairly normal. And yeah, thank you all for hanging out with me today. It was a really good stream. Be sure to hit that follow button so you get notified when we go live, and be sure to check out our Discord as well. I am going to raid us over to another streamer that I saw that was going, and feel free to stick around and hang out on that stream. Should be a good one. And I will go ahead and do this. So I will put us in the end screen because I want to have the end screen at the end, but then I will raid us over to another streamer who's doing some interesting stuff, so I hope you all check that out. And happy coding, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. Really appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Take care.
We are also a smaller, remember that this is statically linked, so everything that we use from GTK is built into this. Hi there, DevChatter, thank you for the raid. Ladies and gentlemen, can we introduce DevChatter's chat to the wonders of the coffee break for anyone with coffee break emotes? For anyone that's subbed here, if we get some coffee break emotes, if we defend this raid, thank you very much, Joko. Remember, for those without our coffee break emotes, there's no problem with going down the route of, oh, Brandonius is coming in with the coffee with his own drinks. Oh, here we go. Let's see if we can defend this. Yeah, an Electron app is 60 meg of RAM, 60 megabyte compiled executable, and about 50 odd meg of RAM, something like that. Us, including, if we build this in release mode, because I think it's a bit tight, I did the Electron app in release mode, so if we build this in release mode, we get to, oh, and by the way, I haven't got any mods here, so I'm going to do it myself. I'm sure everybody here knows about Brendan and the DevChatter streams. If you don't, there's a shout out in chat. Please, please, please follow him.